They chose death over chains, plunging into the waters, their final breath a cry for freedom. But the story doesn't end there. What happened beneath those waves was just the beginning, a truth woven in love.
I'll wait for you beneath the moon's soft glow. You can
Betrayal.
Do not be afraid. Your loyalty will be acknowledged. The king will reward each of you with plots of land, wealth, goats, whatever your heart desires. You scalawag, you nincompoop. You had the audacity to impregnate my daughter, the future queen of Odumodu. I will teach you a lesson you will never forget.
War. And sacrifice. Waiting to rise again.
Odumodu is a vibrant village brimming with unique charm and lively atmosphere. As the sun kissed the green hills, the village awoke with the hum of life. A river as old as the ancestors cut through the land, its waters sparkling beneath the early morning light, symbolizing its resilience and beauty. Morning routines include fishing and farming, fostering a strong sense of community as neighbors greet each other, sharing smiles and stories to start the day. The vibrant market scene buzzes as traders set up stalls filled with fresh produce. Laughter from children playing fills the air, adding joy to the atmosphere, while the enticing aroma of roasted yams and local delicacies tempts passers-by. But in the heart of the marketplace, amidst the joy and the noise, there was one man who stood apart. A man who, despite his stumbling feet, saw what others refused to see. Ijem, the beloved village drunkard, is renowned for his humorous and wise sayings. Staggering through the marketplace with a bottle of palm wine, he engages villagers, skillfully using Igbo proverbs to share messages that resonate with everyone. Local bars serve as cozy retreats for villagers, fostering relaxation and socialization. Here, Ijem engages with patrons, sharing laughter and wisdom.
A man who bathes in the river still sweats, does he not?
A group of young men sitting nearby burst into laughter. One of them, Obi, waves at Ijem, shaking his head.
Jem, have you started again? What are you talking about now?
Ijem staggers over to them, swaying slightly but never falling. He leans in, his voice low but intense.
The world is a marketplace, Obi. When you see the footprints of a chick, the wise man will know it was not from the mother hen.
The men exchange confused glances, unsure whether to laugh or ponder his words. But Obi can't resist chuckling, shaking his head again.
Ijem, your tongue is full of riddles. Go home and sleep off that wine.
Ijem waves him off and turns his attention to an elderly woman selling fruits nearby. Her basket overflows with oranges and pawpaws, her hands busy peeling an orange. She watches Ijem with mild amusement, her eyes crinkling with laughter.
Mother, the tree bears fruit for life, but the hand that harvests it is more important.
The woman chuckles, handing him an orange.
You speak in circles, Ijem. What does it mean this time?
Ijem steps back, raising the orange high above his head as though it were a symbol. His voice rises with a sudden intensity, startling those nearby.
What is happening to you, my people? They carry us to places we do not know. They call it the evil forest, but it is a path of deceit.
As villagers pause, some listening, others laughing. The people of Odumodu heard him, but did they truly listen? To them, Ijem was nothing more than a drunkard, a man who had lost his way. His words were riddles, his warnings ignored, and so they laughed, as they always did, at the man who spoke in circles.
Ijem, go home. You've had too much palm wine. Don't take him seriously. He's always talking nonsense.
Ijem staggering forward, shaking his head.
A foot walks forward but looks behind. The palm tree burns in the desert, but its mouth tires only when it reaches the river. Search yourself before you are carried to where the sun no longer shines.
But the truth, hidden within his riddles, lay heavy on the air. The villagers laughed at Ijem, never knowing that the man they dismissed as a fool was the only one who could see the storm approaching. In Odumodu, the river flowed as it always had. The market buzzed with life, and the people laughed. But behind every laugh, there was a secret, and in every riddle, a warning. In the heart of Odumodu, the air was still for a moment, the calm before the storm of excitement. The village, unaware of the approaching celebration, carried on with its usual rhythm until a familiar sound shattered the morning quiet. The people paused, their heads turning toward the familiar sound. The town crier had news, and in Odumodu, news often came with great weight.
It is time, my people. It is time, Odumodo. Hear the news that I bring you now.
The villagers gathered closer, leaving their work behind, their ears straining to catch his every word. For this was no ordinary news. It was the kind that made hearts race, the kind that filled the air with excitement.
The mighty one, the lion of Odumodu, has returned. Oh yes, he has returned from war. Our protector, our shield, has returned victorious. Umunam, Ike has returned. He is victorious in battle. He comes with spoils of war, and he comes to honor our king. Make way for him in the market square.
The village square filled with excitement, and the air was thick with expectation. The drums beat faster, the singers raised their voices high, and the elders, once seated in quiet reflection, now stood, waiting to receive their warrior. And then, the moment arrived. Ike, the son of the fallen king, the warrior whose hands had seen more battles than most could count, marched into the heart of Odumodu. The people chanted his name, their voices filled with love and awe.
Ike, Ike, Ike the lion, our protector, our warrior. You carry the pride of Odumodu.
But not all voices sang in praise. From the shadows of the marketplace, a lone figure staggered into view. His gourd of palm wine sloshing in his hand, Ajem, the village drunkard, wove through the crowd. His eyes, though blurred by drink, saw more than anyone else.
It is good when strength returns home, but the arms of the strong man are filled with the dirt of the earth. The might of a great man allows evil spirits to feast in his house.
The crowd falls silent as Ajem approaches, some laughing at the sight of him, others uneasy with his words. He stands unsteady before Ike, swaying slightly, his voice rising.
Ah, Ike, the chosen one, the man blessed by the gods. But tell me, Ike, what is good about a great man who feeds the mouths of evil? What is good about a man who carries truth on his back but refuses to see it?
Ajem's words, wrapped in riddles, hung in the air like a shadow over the celebration. The crowd, uneasy, shifted, unsure whether to laugh or take the drunkard seriously. But his voice was relentless, a thorn in the side of a victory that should have been pure.
The gods have chosen you, Ike. But even the chosen can fall when they walk with their eyes closed. Only a blind animal walks the path of deceit.
The crowd murmurs, some laughing off Ijem's words, others whispering among themselves. But Ike's face remains stern, unmoved by the spectacle. Agu, watching from the side of the square, smirks to himself. He sees no threat in Ijem's words, only an opportunity.
A lion does not feed on the bones of the innocent, unless it has lost its way.
The people returned to their praises, their songs rising once more in the heat of the day. But as Ike walked toward the king's palace, Ijem's voice lingered in his mind. For behind every victory, there was a truth that could not be ignored. A truth that Ijem, in his drunkenness, had laid bare. But even in the midst of celebration, a shadow loomed. For while Ika's heart was pure, his hands carried more than victory. They carried the weight of what was to come. Behind him walked the prisoners of war, bound in chains, walking toward a fate that would soon reveal the darkest secrets of the kingdom.
Cha, 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 umuna kwenu. Cha, 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 odumodu kwenu, rienu, zuonu, kwezuonu. Our great father, our glorious king, your sons have returned. Ika, your warrior, has proven himself. He brings our enemies to you, and victory with them.
But for Ika, this was not the end of the battle. As he stood before the king, his heart heavy with unspoken truths, he knew that the real war had yet to begin.
Ika, the Lion of Odumodu, you return victorious once more. The earth trembles beneath your feet, and the gods themselves sing your name. You have brought us glory once again, and for this, the kingdom rejoices.
The gods favor us, my king. Umu Amadi lies at our feet, and their warriors, those who lived, are here to serve your highness.
But tell me, Ika, what is wrong with the hunter? Is it that his traps are set in the wrong parts of the forest? Or is it that the animals in the bush have learned to run faster with their legs? You return victorious, yes. But it seems with each victory, the slaves you bring grow fewer. Smaller, less in number than before. Tell me, great warrior, why is this?
I am no hunter, my king. I am a warrior, a conqueror. With the power of 100 elephants, I tear down kingdoms. I do not set traps. I do not scavenge like a hyena. I am a god among men. When I march, villages fall. And so, I have conquered Umu Amadi. Their warriors are dead, and those who remain stand chained behind me. Their village is without protection now, a shadow of what it once was.
And yet, despite this conquest, you still return with fewer than before. The people, Ika, they want more. The kingdom needs more. Perhaps you have lost your edge, warrior? Or perhaps the lion's roar is fading.
If it is more slaves you need, then send your son, Agu the lion you speak so highly of. Let him go. Let him march to Umwamadi's remains. Perhaps he will bring back as many as your heart desires. After all, is that not what the lion does? Dwelling on weaker animals?
The air in the palace was thick with tension, as Ika's words hung in the space between him and the king. The king's gaze remained sharp, his pride bruised by the warrior's defiance. But before the silence could stretch further, a familiar sound interrupted the moment. The steady, deliberate footsteps of Ezemuo, the chief priest.
Ika, do you forget yourself? The gods have blessed you with strength. Yes, but strength without humility is a burden too heavy to carry. When you speak to the king, you speak to the throne, blessed by the ancestors. You would do well to remember that, lest your tongue provoke the gods themselves.
I speak the truth, Ezemuo. The truth that the king too knows. It is the truth that the gods have seen, that I fight for this kingdom not to be questioned, but to be respected.
Respect, Ika, is earned, and it is lost just as quickly. Today you stand before the king, and today you stand in the presence of visitors. Visitors who have traveled far to honor us with their gifts. These men have brought us wine, den guns, and other gifts. Gifts meant to honor this kingdom and the strength of its warriors. Gifts to celebrate our victory today. Show gratitude for what they offer, for the gods watch how we receive our guests.
Azemo speaks wisely, as always. We are grateful for what the gods have given us, and for what our visitors have brought to celebrate our success. Ika, the victories you've won have honored us all. Let us show the same honor to our guests. Their gifts will serve us well. Their wines will flow freely tonight, and the den guns they've brought will strengthen our warriors. It is in partnership that we grow stronger.
Ika's gaze flickered toward the traders, his eyes narrowing slightly. He knew the price of these gifts, though it remained unspoken. The guns, the wine, they were no simple offerings of friendship. They were tools of trade, tools of power.
I have never lacked in showing gratitude, Ezemur. I know what it means to celebrate a victory. But it is the people of this land I fight for, not the spoils that come after. Tell me, is this truly our victory, or is it the victory of the white man? It baffles me how they cross the seas, carrying their loads of gifts, eager to celebrate the downfall of another village. And not just any village, but a village where the people speak the same language as I do, where they eat the same food and share the same skin. Is this the downfall of Umwamadi alone, or is it the downfall of the black race as a whole? Let them eat, let them drink, let them dance until they are satisfied. But as for me, I have a better place to be.
With the tension still thick in the air, Ika turned from the king's throne, his footsteps heavy but his resolve unbroken. The palace, filled with whispers and the gaze of foreign eyes, no longer held his interest. His thoughts drifted away from the gifts and the glory of battle to something more pure, more real. Ika left the weight of the palace behind him and set his path toward the one place that could calm the storm in his heart, the village river. It was there, by the gentle water, that he would find her. Amara, his love, his anchor in the tide of uncertainty. And it was there, by the river, that his heart would find rest once more. The sun began to sink behind the horizon, casting a golden hue over the calm waters of the river. There, by its edge, sat Amara, her feet dipped in the cool water, her eyes distant, waiting. She sang softly, her voice weaving through the trees like a gentle breeze, carrying the weight of love and longing.
Dinobi anyang me make it gidi milk on me no ke fufe nenge mike dike mo miri maram au charam no bin kadirigi miri maram au charam obuki Onye sirike, onye mutu kwa sirobi Lupa china bali, nike nudo Kangano na kukuki, nalani kwenye tanyite Onye kamchora, tike, ke, ke, ke Onye kamiche, tike, ke, ke, ke Uamuti kani, ke, ke Onye kamchara Onye kamiche tike ke 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 Uamuti kani ke ke
Ika watched her from afar, admiring the melody of her voice. It was the one sound that could still the storm in his heart. After all that he had seen, all that troubled his mind, it was Amara's voice that brought him peace.
Ika, my love, you kept me waiting again. Under the sun, under the rain, but I knew you would come.
I would walk through every storm to find you, Amara. Your voice. It is the only thing that keeps me going.
They sat together by the riverbank, the sound of the water lapping gently at their feet. But behind Ike's smile, there was a heaviness that Amara could not ignore.
What is it, Ike? I see the weight in your eyes.
There is much I have seen in the kingdom, Amara. For so long I have fought, but something is wrong. The palace, the king, even Ezemuo. All of it is changing.
What do you mean, my love?
I've noticed how things have shifted. The kingdom now has more cows, horses, goats. More than 20 kingdoms combined. And Ezemuo, the man who once wore the simple robes of the ancestors, now dresses in foreign clothes, covered in jewelry. He drinks the wine brought by traders from across the seas. And the palace, they have forsaken our palm wine.
Amara listened, her heart tightening with each word. She knew Ika's mind, how deeply he cared for the land and its people. But this was more than concern. It was suspicion.
And why is it that the prisoners of war, men who fought to defend their own villages, are sent to the evil forest? These men are not abominations. They are victims of war, not offenders. The evil forest is meant for those who commit unspeakable crimes, not warriors who fought for their lives. These prisoners should serve our kingdom until they regain their freedom, but instead, they are sent to their deaths.
Iki, my love, you must be careful. Speaking like this, it's dangerous. You know the king listens to Ezemuo, and if they see you as a threat...
No man can hurt me, Amara. I am the strongest in all of Odumodu. I have faced the greatest warriors, and I have won every battle. Whatever evil is happening in that palace, I will uncover it. But I need more than suspicion. I need solid proof.
Amara's heart ached at his words, but she knew that once Ika set his mind to something, there was no turning him away. She held him tighter, her face pressed against his chest, the sound of the river and the fading light the only witnesses to their moment.
Then promise me that you will be careful, please, Obeam.
I promise with all my heart, my sunshine, the only voice that can resurrect Ika from death.
And so they stood together as the sun dipped below the horizon and the first stars began to twinkle in the sky. Their eyes locked in a tender, unspoken exchange, a connection that needed no words. Ika's gaze softened as he looked at Amara, and in her eyes, he saw the love and worry she held for him. Slowly they stepped into the cool waters of the river, their hands still entwined. The ripples surrounded them as they waded deeper, the soft glow of the moon reflecting on the surface. There, in the embrace of the water, they let go of the time they had lost while Ike was away at battle. In each other's arms, they found the solace they had been yearning for, their lips meeting softly as the world around them faded away. The river held them as they made up for every moment missed, the bond between them growing stronger, unspoken promises carried by the breeze. Ika's resolve was set, but in that moment there was no war, no kingdom to defend, only Amara, only the love that anchored him. And though she feared for him, she trusted in his strength, even as unseen forces began to stir in the shadows, waiting for their time. The moon had long set, and the cool shadows of night lingered over Odumodu. Inside the grand palace, the air was thick with tension. The king sat upon his throne, flanked by his son Agu and the high priest, Ezemuo. The events of the day before, Ika's public defiance, still lingered, casting a shadow over the king's authority.
How dare he? Ika has no respect for you, for me, for the throne. Before the entire village and those white traders, He humiliated us, made a mockery of our authority.
Control your tongue, Agu. Ika may be arrogant, but he speaks the truth. And the truth is, you are good for nothing.
Father, how can you say this?
You only drink, sleep with every servant in the kingdom, and what do you have to show for it? You cannot even kill an ant. The only task I gave you, the only thing I've asked of you, is to convince Amara to marry you, Ezemuo's daughter. And even that seems beyond your reach.
The king's voice echoed through the hall, each word dripping with disdain. Agu stood silent, his pride shattered by his father's words. But there was no room for sympathy, not with the threat of Ika looming over them.
It is true. The agreement we made must be fulfilled. Agu must marry Amara. Only then will the bond between the throne and the gods remain intact. Our survival depends on it.
If Ika continues on this path, if he uncovers the truth, the village will turn against us. It will be the end of my reign.
So what do? We cannot let Ika continue like this. He must be stopped.
The king sat back, his mind racing. He knew that Ika was not just a warrior. He was a symbol of strength, of power, a threat that could not be ignored. And yet, if they moved too quickly, the entire village could turn against them.
We must act. If we keep silent, Ika will find the truth and the people will rally behind him. There will be no throne left to defend.
Then we accuse him of treason, spread word that Ika is planning to overthrow you. The village will not question the word of the king and the gods.
Yes? Let him face the same judgment he would pass on others.
We need to make the people believe he is a threat to the kingdom.
But Ika is powerful, my king. His strength is unmatched. We must not confront him head-on. Not yet.
The king turned his attention to Ezemuo, sensing the fear behind the high priest's words. Ezemuo knew all too well that Ika was not a man to be easily defeated.
I will prepare a concoction, something that will weaken him. It will be placed in his room while he sleeps. Once he is weakened, we can capture him, and the people will believe whatever we say.
Do it. The moment he shows weakness, we will strike. But we must be careful. Ika's fall must be swift, or else we risk everything.
But there's something else.
The three men had made their decision. Ika, the kingdom's greatest warrior, was now the target of their conspiracy. But as they plotted in the darkness of the palace, they could not see the storm that was already beginning to gather.
Something I've wondered about. The evil forest. Ika cares so much about what happens there. He questions why the prisoners of war are sent to that cursed place.
What are you suggesting?
I want him to be sent to the evil forest, Father. Let him see for himself what destiny awaits him. The same fate that befalls those sent there will be his, alone, lost in that cursed place, where no one ever returns. Let Ika's strength and bravery guide him to the truth. But once he steps into the forest, it won't matter. He'll never return to tell it. He will die far away from here, in the darkness, with the truth buried along with him.
The king watched his son closely, a slow understanding dawning in his mind. Ezemuo, too, listened with keen interest, knowing well the horrors that awaited in the depths of the evil forest.
As long as Ika breathes the air of this kingdom, whether he walks free or rots in a cell, my daughter Amara will never agree to marry Agu. That is why I support Agu's plan. When Ika is captured, he must be sent to the evil forest. Let him face the fate he deserves, and only then will Amara be free to fulfill her duty.
Agu only seems useful when it comes to chasing women, but no matter. Let's do whatever it takes to bring Ika down. The same fate that claimed his father, my brother, will claim him as well.
Amara isn't just the daughter of the chief priest, Ezemuo. She is the most beautiful maiden in the entire village, and even beyond. Her voice, Father, it's like a balm for the soul. The gods bear witness to what I will do with her body once she is mine.
The gods will bear witness if I strike your mouth for speaking ill of my daughter. Mind your tongue, young prince. She is still my daughter, and I will not tolerate such disrespect.
The plan was clear now, the path laid out for Ika's demise. And as the shadows in the palace deepened, so did the treachery surrounding the kingdom's greatest warrior. The sun had barely risen, casting a golden hue over the village as Amara made her way back from the river, a large pot of water balanced gracefully on her head. Her feet moved steadily on the path, her mind lost in thought, until she heard the familiar footsteps behind her.
Good morning, Amara. How is your father Azemo faring today?
He is well, thank you.
Are you just returning from the river?
No, Agu, I've been hunting. As you can see, my pot is filled with the blood of an antelope. Agu, stop beating around the bush. I'm not interested, and I never will be. My heart belongs to your cousin, Ika. You should stop pestering me.
Her words hit Agu like stones, but he forced a smile, masking the anger that burned beneath the surface. He watched as Amara continued on her way, her dismissal sharp and final. Elsewhere in the village, Ezemuo, the chief priest, walked through the market, his robes flowing in the morning breeze. Behind him, the village drunkard, Ijem, staggered along, singing his usual riddles, each line aimed like an arrow at the chief priest.
What's done in the dark will dance in the light. You can cut the meat, but the bone's still tight. One day the sheep will say, I'm not that dumb, and turn their tails when the shepherd says, come to the evil forest. The gods have packed their bags, they've left the land. Oh yes, the gods of Odumodu took their stand. Let them strike me down if they still exist. Oh wait, they know just who to hit. They'll strike those who lie with their names on their lips.
The villagers glanced nervously at Ijem, unsure whether to laugh or worry. Ezemuo, however, did not turn. His grip on his staff tightened as he quickened his pace, ignoring the words that haunted him. At home, Amara sat quietly, her mind still lingering on her encounter with Agu when her father entered the room. The weight of their conversation hung heavily in the air before Ezemuo finally spoke.
My daughter, you must consider marrying Agu. He will soon be king, and the gods themselves have blessed this union.
Father, you once supported me being with Ika when the late king, his father, was alive. What has changed now? Oh, that's right. Agu is going to be the next king. It's all about wealth and royalty for you now, isn't it?
Her words pierced through Ezemuo's calm demeanor. But before he could respond, Amara spoke again, her voice trembling with emotion.
Well, it doesn't matter. I'm going to marry Ika, and you should know I'm pregnant with his child.
You must not tell anyone about this, not even Ika. It is an abomination for the daughter of Ezemuo to be pregnant before marriage. We will handle this quietly. I will arrange the marriage between you and Ika immediately.
Wow, Papa, thank you so much. You are indeed great.
But even as he spoke, Ezemuo's mind was racing. He knew this was no simple matter. His promise to his daughter was hollow, for deep in his heart he had other plans. Plans that would rid them of Ika for good. As the day wore on, Ezemuo sat alone, contemplating his next move. Amara was a complication he had not anticipated, but the plan to eliminate Ika could not be delayed any longer. And so the chief priest began preparing for what was to come. The time for subtlety had passed. Now he would have to move swiftly before the secrets of the kingdom unraveled completely.
The marriage must happen, but not with Ika. He will be dealt with soon enough. You scalawag, you nincompoop. You had the audacity to impregnate my daughter, the future queen of Odumodu. I will teach you a lesson you will never forget. I will kill you, just like I did to your father. And then I will watch as the village, who so foolishly adored you, stones you to death, just like they did to your mother.
The night air was thick with tension as Ezemuo stood at the edge of the village, facing a group of loyal warriors. Behind him, the shadows stretched long, and before him, the warriors waited anxiously, their loyalty bought with the promises of land, wealth, and favor from the king. Their faces showed fear, but in their eyes, there was greed, an unspoken hunger for more than they had been given.
Do not be afraid. Your loyalty will be acknowledged. The king will reward each of you with plots of land, wealth, goats, whatever your heart desires. You will be honored not just as warriors, but as leaders in this kingdom.
The warriors exchanged glances, their greed growing stronger than their fear. Ezemuo saw it, the flicker of doubt slowly fading, replaced by the pull of ambition.
Yes, I know Ika is strong. He is praised for every battle, every victory. But tell me, does that mean Ika fought alone? Did he win those battles by himself? Yet who do they praise? Who do they sing for? Only Ika. As long as Ika breathes, you will live in his shadow.
The warriors stood straighter, their resolve strengthening. The seed of rebellion had been planted, and now it began to take root.
But now it is time to claim your place, warriors of Odumodu. Go, capture the traitor. Yes, I know you fear him, but believe me, there is nothing to fear. My concoction has already been planted. Even as he sleeps, it works through his body, weakening him. Ika is now as weak as a pregnant woman. His mighty arms, the ones that won so many battles, are now slower than a tortoise. Go and play with him, warriors. The time has come to capture the shadow and step into the light.
The warriors, their confidence restored, nodded in agreement. One by one, they began to move forward, their weapons drawn, ready to confront the man they had once feared. The night was silent, but for the sound of their footsteps as they marched toward the hut where Ike lay, unaware of the betrayal that awaited him. While the night deepened and treachery brewed in the shadows, Amara waited by the village river. The gentle sounds of the flowing water accompanied her, but her heart began to stir with unease. Ika was supposed to meet her earlier, and now the night had fully settled in.
Perhaps something held him up. But no matter, he will be here soon. I can't wait to tell him. We're getting married. My father, Ezemuo, finally agreed.
Excitement filled her heart as she imagined the joy on Ika's face when he heard the news. And so, while she waited, she did what she always did. She sang. But little did she know, as she sang and waited for her love, Ika was not on his way to the river. Instead, he was facing his own demons, fighting battles unseen, battles that would decide more than just their love.
Again, where are you now? I wait for you beneath the moon's soft glow. Ikan, ooh, pia, pia, pia. Ikan, ooh, pia, pia, pia. Ijalava poco, pia, pia, pia. So getting no pia, pia, pia. Pia. The sun has set, the night is deep, but my heart still waits, my love don't sleep. I can, where are you now? I'll wait for you beneath the moon's soft glow. You can, ooh, pia, pia, pia. You can, ooh, pia, pia, pia. Ijalova buko, pia, pia, pia. So getting no pia, pia, pia. Pia, pia, pia. I've waited through the rain, through the sun. My love for you will never be undone. Ikem, my heart calls your name. Without you here, it's never the same. Ikem, ooh, pia, pia, pia. Ikem, ooh, pia, pia, pia. Ijalova buko, pia, pia, pia. So getting no pia, pia, pia. Pia, pia, pia. Every star in the sky reminds me of you. My heart is yours, forever true. Piano door, my love, come in peace. With you, 속이 띵노비 비야 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 띵오 비야 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 띵오마 이게 러버 부고모 비야 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 속이 띵노비 비야 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 띵오 The sun has set, the night is deep, but my heart still waits, my love don't sleep. I can, where are you now? I'll wait for you beneath the moon's soft glow. He can, be up, be up, be up. Can, be up, be up. I'll wait for you beneath the moon's soft glow. He can be up, be up, be up. Can be up, be up, be up. It's your love up, go. Be up, be up, be up. So get no be. Be up, be up, be up.
Oh, the mighty have fallen, and yet the people of Odumodu shall rise. For every fall there is a gain, though we do not always see it. The land breathes heavy tonight, but do you feel it? That whisper in the air, that shift in the wind? Something is coming. Something greater than what we know. There must be a sacrificial lamb, mustn't there? But the gods, oh, the gods no longer feast on fowls and goats. Their hunger has changed. They crave something deeper, something richer. They now thirst for the blood of a warrior. Yes, the blood of a warrior. For the sins committed in our land, they are not small things. They cannot be washed with mere water or with the blood of beasts. No, my friends, they can only be washed away by something greater. A great blood. A blood that will stain the soil and cleanse it in the same breath. You think the end is near for those who have done wrong, don't you? Ah, but what seems like a good ending for the wicked is only the beginning. The beginning of a sunrise that will shine bright and clear on the people of Odumodu. The beginning of a rain that will wash away the sins of the fathers. Cleanse this land from the filth that has festered too long. The beginning of a thunderstorm. Oh yes, a storm so fierce that it will strike down every root of evil and leave nothing but truth in its wake. O gods of Odumodu, why have you forsaken your people? Is it that you have grown tired of us? Or perhaps you now drink the white man's wine? Is that it? Have you joined them in their feasts? Do you now speak the white man's language, forgetting the cries of your own children? Or maybe, just maybe, you are too busy counting your victims in the evil forest. Yes, yes. Perhaps you've grown so occupied with the souls you've taken that you've forgotten the living, forgotten the land you swore to protect. But remember this, gods of Odumodu, the blood of a warrior will spill soon. The storm is coming, and when it does, there will be no hiding. Not for the liars, not for the thieves, not for those who twist the truth in the name of power. The dawn is on its way, and the sun, oh, the sun will burn away all that is false. To the gods, if they still watch, to the truth that will be revealed. Brothers, hear me now. We've been held in chains, but chains cannot bind the spirit of a warrior. We have nothing left to lose but the shame of being prisoners. Let us die as we were meant to, fighting, standing tall in the face of death. We fight, not as captives, but as warriors reborn. Too long we have fought blindly, brother against brother, kingdom against kingdom. I regret the blood I spilled, not in war,